In terms of investing, you said that most of your money came from investing in small businesses. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now I'm the exact opposite. Like, most of my investment money was made in stocks. And whenever I see someone asking me to invest in a small business, I think, okay, how safe do I feel investing with this person as opposed to investing in Nike? I know Nike pretty well. I own a big sneaker site, so I'm pretty in tune with how well Nike is doing in terms of the sneaker audience. I understand how big they are culturally. I look at their financial reports and so forth. And then I have someone saying, well, you know something, give me $10,000 to start this this website or this new app that I'm launching, or whatever other idea that I have. And I always say, something, I'd rather keep my money in Nike. I trust them with my money more than I trust this person.
Well, I don't think that's bad logic per se. I mean, a lot of money is made in the stock market. In fact, that's the reason for the wealth gap between the rich and the poor, is because a lot of the rich people put their money in the stock market and poor people don't. So everything you're saying makes perfect sense. If people really want to build wealth, the stock market's a great way to go. I recommend mutual funds. However, one of the things I found is that while I did a lot of what you mentioned, I put a ton of my money in the stock market. What I found was that in my community, investing, first of all, it had a twofold meaning for me. I wasn't just investing because I wanted to make money. I was investing because I wanted to help the people I care about. And I also invested because I wanted to invest in the things that I love to do. As you mentioned, sneakers were your passion. So I assume at some point, besides Nike, you also invested in other aspects of sneakers, hip hop culture, things like that, because that was also a part of who you were, right? So I think investing can take those three prongs to it, right? So what I would say is that in my particular path, when I would invest in small businesses, first of all, I would look and try to see if there was a need for this product. And then I didn't make massive investments. A lot of people would invest in something. They'll put up 10, 20, 30, 40, $50,000 in something that isn't even built yet, that isn't even moving yet. I don't do that. I'll give you the first 500, first 1,000, and then see what you do with that. And then once you're making that profitable, or if you can show me some sign of profitability, then maybe I'll give you a little more and a little more and a little more. And that's kind of, I think, a safer approach. Because here's the thing. On the internet, there are billionaires being created every single day. There are so many great websites being created that don't cost hardly anything to build. These apps, they cost less than $1,000 to make. But sometimes you have to let the business kind of go for a while before you decide if you want to invest heavy in it. And in fact, a lot of the books that I've been reading about investing online, they kind of say that. They kind of say, look, don't dump all your money into something that's just a concept. Put a little bit of your money in, create a prototype, sniff around, see if there's demand. Put it out there in the line and say to your Facebook friends, hey, if I create something like this, would you be interested in buying it? And if the answer is all yes, 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 then maybe build that first prototype for minimal cost, put it out there, see if you can start making your money, and then create what I would call bootstrap growth. A lot of people think you have to go out and get this massive loan for $500,000 or whatever to make a business go. And I think that's a bad strategy, even if you can get the money. I say, see what you can do with $3,000 or $5,000 or $10,000. Because there are businesses that you can invest $3,000 in and make them profitable. At least that's been my strategy. And then when I see that thing can generate $10,000, $20,000 a month or something like that, then that's when I start throwing in the heavy money.
Okay, so give me an example of a couple things that you invested $500 or $1,000 in that ended up making you a significant amount of money.
Okay, one example is, and I feel bad. I don't know if I can give away all our business here, but we created a platform called financialjuneteenth.com. And Financial Juneteenth, for me, that was a passion because, I know finance. That's what I studied. I got my PhD in it. My brother is a techie. He does engineering. And we realized that everybody's constantly feeding, celebrity gossip and all kinds of other stuff to black people, but nobody's really addressing this huge market for financial literacy. A lot of black people really want to understand money. So I said, okay, let's create something for them. Let's make it not just financial, but let's connect it to the spirit of what drives us as black people. So the name Financial Juneteenth we came up with that because Juneteenth means freedom, and all of us as black people feel just that pressure of feeling locked up in some situation you don't want to be in. A lot of us either feel that way now or we felt that way in the past. So, we started doing that, started creating some content. Didn't cost a whole lot to create the content. I think the website cost us maybe $500 to get the first version of it built. And we started putting content on it. I wrote some of the content. So some of the investment wasn't just financial. It was also invested in terms of time. I had to put in the sweat equity. My brother put in some time. And we started, we put some ads on the platform and whatnot. And it started making money. And then eventually we started getting, hundreds of subscribers every single day. Now we get almost 1,000 subscribers a day. And now it's actually doing pretty well. And so that's just, one example. But other examples, we have a store at Your Black World where we sell education. So we might make a film for a low budget film that has something that aren't going to see in Hollywood. Our audience loves it because they trust us, they love us. I might do an audio product where I might give a speech, literally record a speech, and then say, okay, here's the information. It's $14.99. I think it'll change your life, and people buy it. So little things like that. I find are ways to create and build things without investing tons and tons of money. But that's just my approach. And I'm not here to say I'm an expert on small business, but what I can say is that I got the hell off that job. I mean, the job that I was on, I hated that place. I worked at Syracuse University for 13 years. I was the first black person they'd ever hired in the finance department in 100 years. And it was miserable going to work every day. I knew my days were numbered. I knew that I was too radical, especially when I started going on TV and I was talking shit on TV. I knew they were going to fire me, and the writing was all over the wall. So I had to build an escape route. And when I did that, it's funny. Sometimes you feel trapped, and it brings something out of you that you didn't even know was there. Because you see, scholars are kind of weak. A lot of us, not all of us, but we're kind of so used to being well paid to do stuff that doesn't apply to the real world. We sit in our offices, we write these research papers that nobody's ever going to read, and we think we're actually doing something valuable. Some of us are, but a lot of us aren't. And so the idea of going out into the real world and having to kill what you eat and actually having to compete to get what you want, that's just something scholars aren't trained to do because we're protected in the ivory tower. So it was a little scary at first for me to make that adjustment, but I knew I had to do that just really to be a man, to reaffirm my manhood, but also because I was in a tough situation. And the great thing about it was when I buckled down, committed myself to it, believed in myself, gave 100%, kept grinding, eventually I made 3 times more money outside of the university than I was making inside the university. And then I told, I had my FU money up. So I said, fuck it, I'm gone. I'm out of here. And the great thing about it was I didn't just have to quit quietly. I didn't care that if I was going to be blackballed. I didn't care what people were going to think. I was able to really tell them, look, you guys are racist. You're not dealing with this issue, and I'm going to leave. But before I leave, I'm going to let you know the truth about the way you're treating black people here. And I think that as a result of me being more outspoken, they hired a lot of black people the following year because I think somebody listened. So my point here in that long soliloquy, I didn't mean to be long-winded with that, is just to say that money is not about what you have in your bank account. Money is far deeper than buying a new car or a big house or fancy clothes and all that other shit. Money is about your spiritual freedom, your right to free will, your ability as a man to have access to your manhood, to be the best that you're meant to be. It means so much more than just having something in your bank account. I think that's where people kind of miss the point here. In fact, you see a lot of rappers, for example, that have hundreds of millions of dollars in the bank who seem to be more enslaved than they were when they were broke. So I think that's what we have to understand about money, is that money really is power over your life and power over society. And it's as simple as that.
Where we are as men, we just understand the equity in our relationship. You know what I'm saying? And the good outweigh the bad.
Okay, we can't hate on her, so let's say she has AIDS. Okay, now let's call her a fat bitch. Like, well, you already said I had AIDS, and so you think you calling me a fat bitch is gonna really hurt me?